economy is bad. Well, listen to this. The African nation of Zimbabwe just announced that after paying the latest round of government salaries, they only have $217 left in the bank. Seriously. Remember, this is the same country that was forced to print the $100 trillion bill before hyperinflation ultimately collapsed their currency. Could we ever be carrying one of these around in our left pocket? I don't know. Let's bring our power panel back. Steve Moore with the Wall Street Journal, Brian Westbury from First Trust Advisors, and Simon Rosenberg of the New Democratic Network. Simon, I'm going to start with you because we went to you last time. It seems only fair. Do you have a $100 trillion bill? Are you ready for this to happen here in the U.S.?
I'm not even sure I have a $100 bill, Melissa. But no, look, there's a lot of work to be done to get our budget in better shape. And I think one of the most important things to me about the coming debate is that we don't have to do everything in 1 year, right? I mean, I think there's sort of an expectation there's going to be a grand bargain, all of our problems are going to be solved. I don't think that's going to happen. We could see this getting resolved over the next 3 or 4 years, pieces of it getting done. Because remember, we actually, when Bill Clinton left office in 2001, we were headed towards eliminating the deficit altogether, and then a future Congress unraveled that. Right?
Well, I mean, it was also because, and you know well, because the economy was growing so well, and that was really the genesis of this segment, was that the economy, no matter how you slice it, is not growing so well. Steve Moore, how do we get the economy back on track? I mean, the Pete Peterson Foundation came out with a report saying the way we're going right now, we are on track to have GDP ratio of 200%. Of our debt to GDP ratio would be 200% by 2040.
Yeah. I think, Melissa, I mean, I'm much more of a growth hawk than I am a debt hawk. I mean, the truth is, with these really low interest rates right now, if we were growing at 3 or 4 or 5%, the debt wouldn't be nearly the burden that it is. And the only thing that I really worry about, the only reason the debt keeps me up at night at all, Melissa, is what happens if interest rates start to rise? If there is an interest rate move, 200 basis point, that blows another $2 trillion hole into the budget.
No, that's absolutely true. Brian Westbury, how do we get the economy growing again? I mean, that has been the question of the hour for about 4 years.
Yeah, well, I've been answering it for 4 years. Cut the size of government. The reason the economy boomed in the late 1990s was because we had great new technologies, the PC and the internet, but government was only 18.5% of GDP when Bill Clinton was president. Today, it's 22.5% of GDP, the federal government. It's never been bigger. If you take defense out of the budget, we have never had a bigger government than we have today. And the bigger the government is, the smaller the private sector is.
But does it really stunt the growth of the private sector, or was that a function of the government? Whatever size it was, and the rest of the economy was growing so big because of the tech boom. Does bigger government really stunt the rest?
Welfare, we cut the size of government under Reagan and under Clinton. Not actually cut dollar spending, but we slowed its growth. We had welfare reform. We had all kinds of great stability in government spending, and the government grew, and as the economy grew, and as the economy grew, the government shrank as a share. And that's where we have to get back to.
Simon, you're a Clinton guy. Is this true? Do you want to go back to the Clinton days? And does that mean smaller government? Would you agree Clinton equals smaller government?
Let's go back to your day, Simon. Let's go right back to your day, Simon. I'm ready right now.
The two biggest drivers of growth of government spending have been defense and Medicare. And I think that if we want to get spending under control, we're going to have to tackle health care costs, which is what Barack Obama said in his inaugural speech last week, and we're going to have to continue to bring down defense. And I think if we can do that and raise a little bit of revenue, I think that we can make significant progress on deficit, and getting the deficit under control.
Real quick, Steve, last word real quick. We don't have time. Go ahead.
Of course health care entitlements are the big problem. And so, Simon, why did we create a new $1 trillion health care entitlement? That didn't make a lot of sense. I mean, we just can't afford it. And that's a big problem. When you talk about negatives for the economy, I think Obamacare is one of them.
On that happy note, I've got to wrap this up. Thanks to all three of you for coming on. I hope you'll come back. You're all fantastic. Time now.